ahead and get started. We'd like to welcome Collin Morikawa to the virtual press room here at the RBC Heritage. Collin, you're making your second start here at the RBC Heritage, so you've had a little bit of experience under your belt. Just some thoughts on being back here Harbor Town this week, and thoughts on the course and your game, etc.
Yeah, obviously it's been a while. Even though it was last, I think June, feels like it's been a lot longer than that. But yeah, I'm excited to be here. It's a course that I think really suits my game. A lot of tee to green, a lot of approach shots that are kind of in my wheelhouse. But last year, I struggled a little bit, especially after playing well the week before. Just had a few issues through the turf with my irons, but this year with a little more overseed, we're in April now. Everything feels really good. Game's feeling really good, especially after last week. So hopefully we start making a lot of birdies.
You've had 3 top 10s so far, including your win of the World Golf Championships workday. If you could just kind of assess the state of your game heading into the week and what you're feeling comfortable with.
Yeah, I'd say the state of my game is really good. I'd say overall as a season, it hasn't been as consistent as I wanted. It hasn't been that consistent kind of golf that I thought I'd be playing week in and week out. But, there's ups and there's downs, and we're trying to figure things out. Obviously, I made a huge putter switch earlier this year in LA with the grip and everything feels great. And I think every week I'm learning something. I picked up on a few things from last week that even though the course play is completely different about my game, about my head, how I go through certain shots, I think we're heading down a really good path. So, everything feels really good. And those are the weeks that you come out, hopefully, putting yourself in contention by Sunday.
Okay, all right. Well, we'll take a few questions. One of the beauties of doing this early is that you may have beat the early media rush. So we've got a couple questions from Cameron Mork with PGAtour.com. Cameron, go ahead.
Hey, Collin. Just a little bit of a random question for you on the PGA Championship. I know you just did the media conference for that. On 16, had you tried to drive that green every day? And what has happened to the actual driver? Have you kept it framed it or anything for posterity, or what has happened to the actual club?
I thought you were talking about Kiwa. My bad. The actual club, it's just sitting in my house. Definitely haven't framed it. Just sitting in a bag with a bunch of other clubs. I know which one it is. It's just. Yeah, that's just not me. I throw it in a golf bag, put it aside, and I'm sure down the road I'll kind of look at it and be like, that's kind of, the shot that changed everything, that kind of changed my career at that point at 23.
Yeah, and had you gone for that green every single day?
No, I went once. I think it was on a Friday. I wasn't planning on going for it at the beginning of the week, so I actually never even tried it. It was just something that... everything fit the circumstance and made sense. Wind and everything was perfect, and obviously it worked out.
And how much were you thinking? I know this got mentioned the other day. How much were you thinking about Muirfield and having driven the green on 14 at Muirfield and then missed the eagle putt? How much were you thinking about that as you walked up to the ball, thinking, okay, this time I've got to actually convert?
I wasn't thinking about Muirfield. Obviously, you had the feels. But what's crazy about Muirfield, the drive was so much more important than actually making that eagle putt. Like, the eagle putt was important, but, to be honest, since you said it, I haven't thought about that eagle putt since the tournament. That's how much, I was in the moment at that point. So, for me, it was there's similar feels. Everything's set up the same, but when you look at what kind of driver hole that is, for me on 16 at Harding, it was literally perfect, and it was just made for me to hit a good shot there.
You almost never hit a right to left shot. You're always kind of a left to right, kind of cut it in.
Yeah, unless you really have to, or the wind's blowing off your left, I try to stick to my strengths and I try to do what I do best, and that's really work it from left to right.
All right, thank you.
Okay, we go now to Shane Ryan with Golf Digest.
Hey, Collin. I'm sure no matter what advice you get ahead of time or after, there's no way to know how to handle the things that come after winning a major championship until you've done it. So let me ask the cheesy question of, if Collin Morikawa in April could go back to Collin Morikawa the Monday after Harding Park, what advice would you give yourself, or what would you say? Hey, look out for this, because this is the kind of thing you didn't expect will happen.
To be honest, nothing. I wouldn't tell myself anything. I've done so much prep work on how to handle these things that, everything that comes out of it, the opportunities, the media, everything, it's all good things. Yes, you have to manage your time, and that's, I guess, one thing. Like, how do you learn how to manage your time better, more efficiently? There's only so much time, so many off weeks we get throughout the year, and that's why, we are drained after a 3-week stretch because we're on the road so much. But overall, like, you can't tell yourself to do something for that, because you want to win. You want to be in those positions to have those opportunities to talk to people, because that's when you are heard, and that's when you can make waves amongst the golf world.
Kevin Kisner was in here yesterday, and he said something I thought was interesting. He's not that old a guy, but he was saying that the young players like yourself, he didn't mention you by name, but the young players in general, he thinks they're more prepared to win now than they were when he came up. And I see you as like that. Obviously, you already have a major, but you've also, even before then, been really, really good with the media. You seem like you know what you're doing in interviews and things like that. What do you credit that to? Why is your generation sort of more polished in that sense?
All the tools we have, whether you're in school for 1 year, but, I stayed 4 because it was really important. Academics were always important to me. So, I stayed my 4 years. That probably helped me in these talks with you and everyone else. But overall, it's just a sense of belief. You go through these college programs and you see guys come out of them and have success on the PGA Tour. You realize that they're kind of carving a path for you to do this. And we're carving paths for everyone and kids to realize that it's possible. And for us, the young guys coming out, we just believe that we can do it. Guys that are my age that haven't gotten to the PGA Tour yet, they see me, they see Wolf, Victor Hovland, a bunch of young guys come out and have success like what Will Zalatoris is doing, and they see that this is possible. And it's no different than playing golf with your buddies at home. It's just on a bigger stage, and sometimes you have to get over that hurdle to really just understand that at the end of the day, it is golf.
Yeah, really interesting. Thanks, Collin.
Okay, Collin, well, I've just got one last question, and then we'll cut you loose. You've had four wins and 42 professional starts. What would be the right word? Surprised or impressed, or maybe all the above? Are you a little bit surprised at how much success you've garnered early on in your career?
No, I wouldn't say I'm surprised. But as I look at it as a whole, like we talk about the consistency, and yes, the wins, people only look at the wins, but I look at it as a whole, and I want to be a lot more consistent. So I'm thrilled with my 4 wins. I'm not going to take those away from me, and no one will. That's what I want to keep, and I want to keep winning, because at the end of the day, that's what we're kind of defined by. But overall, there's still so much for me to work on. So I'm not surprised. I felt like I stayed all 4 years, and I prepped for, by the time I turned pro, I was ready to come out. And it's obviously paid a lot of dividends, and we have a lot more work to do as well.
Okay, all right. Well, unless there's anything you want to sit around and chat about, we'll cut you loose. We appreciate it.
Yeah, no.
Best of luck this week. Thank you.
All right, thank you, guys.
Take care.